Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Chad. By the way, thank you for all the people that subscribed yesterday. We're closing in on 5 million subscribers, so thank you for subscribing if you did. So, a couple days ago, I ended up making a video talking about how this camo, what I was talking about was Exclusion Zone, this camo is better than basically every other Mastery camo. Or at the very least, I just prefer it more. And a couple people tweeting at me like, hey dude, why'd you go and use a Modern Warfare Remastered thumbnail if you're not gonna be playing it? That's kind of clickbait. It's like, well, how the fuck else am I supposed to show what Exclusion Zone looks like when I literally don't have that version of the game? Like, clearly, I don't need to clickbait it. I've done it. I made a million videos about this to the point to where people are asking me to stop. The reality of it is, man, Modern Warfare Remastered over on PC here had a complete nightmare launch. Basically, the game had like a peak of maybe a couple thousand. Rage ended up tweeting me at one point. Hold on, sore Rage. There are people out there that had the audacity to go and tell that Call of Duty has always been a PC game. I'm telling you, they literally just make up shit. It's wild. Some of them, they're just completely delusional once they start losing. It's weird. MWR PC isn't worth it at all, man. It's so dead and broken. The game wasn't made with a proper PC port and only had 6,000 players at its peak on launch. It's very sad. And then he linked the peak number of people over on Steam, the version that I'm playing. And as you can see, no games are found. They never will. I have sat here for literally hours, and the most that has ever happened for me while waiting was I got 3 other people, but we could never start a game. The only way that I'd be able to play MWR is if I managed to somehow secure an Xbox again. I don't have my 360. I don't have an Xbox One. I don't have a Xbox. What's the other Xbox? I'm very confused. Is it the Xbox One or is it the Xbox One X? I don't fucking know. PS4, 5, and all that shit is very easy to follow. Xbox, what the fuck is this naming scheme? But the only thing we could realistically do is like set up a private match. Right, let's restrict Juggernaut and Martyrdom. Oh man, this is so weird. Okay. Since it's over on PC, obviously we don't have any like dead zone settings, and since this wasn't a proper PC port. Oh man, this feels super. What the? Wasn't letting me shoot. So yeah, like that one thing that I mentioned where somebody said that COD 4 was like Modern Warfare 2019. I mean, clearly just from watching this gameplay, they're already completely different. In terms of map design, in terms of spawn, in terms of flow. Again, it comes down to flow. You have to understand old school Call of Duty flowed for you to really understand. It's not that you couldn't camp. And it's not that there weren't campers, it's that the way that the maps played forced players into areas to fight in large quantities and numbers, but also allowed for a playstyle that could flank around things, whereas over in Modern Warfare, those styles of play took a back seat to a lot of the camping. It empowered a lot of the camping. I mean, just looking at the perks right there changes the way that people play. Stopping power was in this game, and since stopping power was in this game, nobody was using anything like Ghost or Cold-Blooded or whatever. If they were trying to shoot things down, most likely trolling, to be honest, because you really couldn't compete without it. And I'm not saying that stopping power is necessarily a good thing. There's a reason they got rid of it, because it is absolutely a crutch perk in these games. Same thing with Modern Warfare 2. That's just a small reason how and why people play differently from Modern Warfare 2019. They're not even close to the same game. Also only had 3 different kill streaks, a UAV, an airstrike, and then a chopper. That's it. It sounds boring, yeah, we're all used to like the, you know, the big customizable kill streaks and all that shit now. But that also changed the way that people played on here, because you realistically didn't need to camp for anything bigger than a 7 kill streak. People would just die, and they did not care. The mentality was just completely different. The guy was just saying like, oh, I wish that this guy would give us reasons instead of just telling us we're wrong. I've been talking about it for years. This is making me sound like I'm talking myself up, but listen, it's like walking into the classroom for the first time after like 3 months of a semester or some shit like that, and then expecting the teacher to come back to you and tell you what the fuck you missed. You missed the class. It's no one else's fault you look fucking stupid saying this shit. It's your fault. Oh, I just tried to edit my class in-game. Yeah, you couldn't do that back here. Apparently some perks and or proficiencies ended up leaking. Now, I don't know if some of these are perks or weapon perks. I'm very confused. I take Juggernaut off and I'm still hit marking. I'm dog shit. You know, it's funny though. The entire community back when this game was out, we had to sit there and tell the developers themselves that they were wrong about collateral. They were telling us that it wasn't possible to get like triples and quads and all this other shit on COD 4. on Modern Warfare. They were saying that it wasn't possible when they had literal endless amounts of montages and all sorts of other shit. They were saying things like, oh, well, maybe some of the players were damaged and all this other stuff. When the reality of it was very different and weird. But the ACOG scope, for example, gave an extra damage boost to the M40. For some reason, it just did. So a lot of triples and quads and stuff were hit with that also in mind. But also, different results based on if you were in a public match versus a private match. You are less likely to get big collaterals in private matches as opposed to public matches. It was very, very weird, but that was something that they ended up, you know, overlooking. They literally put out video to sit there and combat what the community was saying, that it was possible to hit triples on the game. They literally made videos of them trying to shoot people over and over and over again, upper chest, in the neck, all sorts of shit. And we had to literally educate them that it was not the case. This is the stuff that I'm talking about, where this isn't necessarily like their fault, but to sit there and question the people that actually played these games this many years ago, and I'm not talking about casually, I'm talking about the people that have been into this shit, making montages, and people that know this shit. This isn't an ego thing. You're telling me that 2 + 2 is not 4. It's just wrong. I'm gonna keep using that analogy because that's what you're doing. It's not an opinionated thing. There is a fact. It doesn't make me feel any smarter for sitting there pointing out something simple like you can do triples on COD 4, but the fact that I have to explain it to people is crazy. It's like weird gaslighting type of shit that people are trying to do. They're trying to like change how people viewed the old games and how the old games were played. All you gotta do is look back at a bunch of montages from back in the day, and you know how the game was played. Watch one gameplay. They don't look anything like a Modern Warfare gameplay, is all I'm gonna say. This was, I believe, Raven at the time. Yeah, the people that are over there on Warzone right now. Now, they did fix it. They absolutely, they were like, oh, wow. Yeah, that is the case. Thank you for telling us and letting us know and everything. Even the developers themselves can be... They don't necessarily know every single little detail. And to be fair, they're very, very small, minute things. But that's my point. The people that are saying that this game is anything like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 are literally just wrong. They're just lying. They are remembering incorrectly or just purposefully just remembering that way to pad their argument for whatever reason. It's so strange. Like, it's not even really a win if you sit there and lie in the middle of the argument because you know it's a lie. It's super weird. There's no... I was saying, back when Vanguard was, you know, going and everything, I was saying I was hoping you didn't see any attachments for, like, the knife or, like, the launchers or anything like that. And I said, you know, for the sake of, you know, how crazy this game already seemed, I'm surprised that there weren't perks or efficiencies for the knife. It turns out that that might actually be the case. Now, the thing is, I think there's like a commando-esque type of perk that's supposed to be coming. That's a rumor anyway, but I don't really know if it's just a weapon proficiency or you can actually put it on just any class and end up getting it. What I mean by commando is it's a perk that ends up extending your melee range. This one seems like it actually does a little bit more than just extending your range. And also there's another perk or proficiency that is just rumored at the moment where you apparently actually take less damage while sprinting, which is actually really cool because now it sounds like a crazy perk. Don't get me wrong, this game sounds completely crazy. And I was saying, if they're gonna go crazy with it a little bit, you might as well go crazy all the way. I mean, fuck it. To like MW2 levels of just fuck it. I know it sounds weirdly counterintuitive to go and say, oh yeah, let's go and make a quote good game and then cheer them for making a broken game like Modern Warfare 2. You have to understand that you can make a broken fun game and you can also make a broken, boring game. I remember how crazy it was that they just added bots into the game. We didn't have bots for a long time. We had to fill private matches up with real people. Now, I don't know, obviously, how much less your damage you're gonna end up taking from bullets. Maybe it'll be one extra bullet. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not like Juggernaut levels, but at the same time, obviously, if you're sprinting, you can't shoot, right? So it makes it a little bit easier to just move around the map. You're not gonna be able to sprint and shoot at the same time. Well, you might be able to. Wait a minute. I'm thinking of like a Gung-Ho hipfire class with that perk on there. Unless Gung-Ho is also in the same category. Oh man, there's gonna be just so many mix and matching things. We've been talking about this from the start, just from the attachments themselves. Now that you're throwing the perks and proficiencies and then potential just base perks, that we don't even know which ones are base perks or not. But yeah, tonight we got Santos versus Johnny Walker. That is not going 5 rounds. I'm sorry. There's just no way. I know that Santos isn't necessarily the same after all of his, you know, leg injuries after John Jones fight, but Santos throws with ridiculous violence. Johnny Walker literally does backflips going into the ring and shit, so that dude throws all sorts of crazy shit, just disrespecting. Now, obviously, I mean, he might just take the fight more seriously and try to approach it slowly, but the thing is, it's kind of his style. That's kind of what makes him dangerous. A lot of people ask, like, oh, why did Anderson Silva, you know, Anderson Silva wouldn't have got knocked out by Chris Weidman if he just kept his fucking hands up. But the thing is, that's Anderson Silva's style. he probably won't be able to land nearly as much and cleanly enough either if he goes and changes the way that his offense is. If Johnny Walker doesn't do all of this crazy shit and moving around, he might just fall behind. So there's a very thin line there. All matchups, really. Styles make fights. I see Santos as somebody that's definitely a bit more durable than Johnny Walker. He also won't expend as much energy immediately. He does it in short bursts and shit, but again, if Johnny waits, he's likely gonna lose. I mean, who knows though? He could do some crazy shit. I mean, Johnny Walker has some crazy knockouts, violent knockouts. I think Santos has this fight in the bag though. Fights are on tonight. Eagles are probably gonna get smashed tomorrow, and COD 4 is nothing like Modern Warfare 2019. A new season is coming up soon as well. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do right on season release. I'll have to see. Some people were asking me to actually go back into the Cold War story and make different decisions and shit. I just don't really know how much people really care at that point. You know what I mean? I mean, the series did great and everything, but it's a lot of extra shit. That's like asking me to go into like Spec Ops and then learn that story as well. I just don't really care. Apparently Mason is coming though, so I mean, it's kind of cool, I guess.